Today we're going to be trying out for the first time the Breakthrough Clean Technologies Suppressor Cleaner Kit, and that's coming up next here on Jesse B Outdoors. Welcome back everybody, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, hit that notification bell, leave a comment down below if you like videos like this. Well, it's finally time to clean a suppressor. I'd hate to say it, but I've had this anechoic suppressor, this anechoic 22, for a long time now, and this thing has probably got well over 2,000 rounds through it between videos and my boy and I messing around with it, and it's never been clean. So I went to my local gun store, and they actually offer suppressor cleaning, and I asked them, I was like, what do you guys use? And they said they use this kit here. So I was like, all right, you guys got one in stock? And they said yes, so I picked it up, brought it home, and now we're going to do a video on it. I'll have something to tell you at the end about this, one thing that they do with it. But the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to go over some of the features about this. We're going to open it up, see what all it comes with, and then we're going to try it out. So let's get started. Now, some of the features that we got here on the box is a simple and effective suppressor cleaning system. Safe for aluminum, stainless, and titanium, which is good because that's pretty much what all suppressors are made out of. And it includes a 16-ounce bottle of suppressor cleaner. Now, you can buy the cleaner separate from this kit. So if you buy the kit, you get the cleaner, and then once you're done and go through the cleaner, you can buy just the cleaner in a bottle, which is very nice. It comes with the soak tube, tray, removal tool, and brushes. We're going to open this up here after this and take a look at all that. Removes carbon, lead, and copper fouling. Ammonia-free, virtually odorless, which I like because some cleaners that I know that work good stink, so I really don't like using them. But it looks like it is safe on everything. So let's go ahead, open this up, and see what's all in the box. Alright, now let's pop this open and see what all we have in here. I've already got it hopefully opened up enough to pop it open easily. Got the hangers right there that we don't need. I'm going to pull it out. And then right here, get the light not shining on it, is your tray. And that's what's going to hold everything. Our bottle of cleaner right here. And you can see this is a big bottle. That actually sits right in there. Then we've got our tube that you put the fluid in and the suppressor in to clean it. That goes on the other side. Then I'm going to take these out here. And that's everything in the box that we're concerned about. Now you got your removal tool. This will hook down into the suppressor so you can pull it out. And then we got our two different size brushes here to clean the inside out with. Basically, they kind of remind me of some of the brushes that come factory with some guns and everything. Not too bad at all, but that's very nice they give you. And then once you open them all up, they all fit down in this tray. So let's move on to the next part. Now here's a real quick look at what we're dealing with here. Now let's move on to the suppressor before we come back to this. Now we're going to take apart the suppressor here, and what we're going to do with this is just show you how dirty this is. Now with the anechoic 22, there's a bunch of holes right around here. As you can see, they do not go all the way through. This is not a flow through like that design like the other ones. It does come with the wrench here from anechoics to take it apart, and it's got these nubs on each end. You just stick those right across from each other, and then hopefully, which this one broke apart pretty easily, and you just unthread it. Now this end cap here, you can take a look at it and see that that's pretty dirty right there. That is made out of titanium. Let's see if any of the baffles come out. Nope, they don't come out, but I could already see crud coming out. Now what you want to do is use a wood rod, or I've got a plastic one here. You don't want to use metal on this because you don't want to mess it up. And we're going to try to push all these baffles out here. Let's see how far down we can get on this. And is that all of them? Let's see here. That is all of them right here. Now you can see how filthy that is on both sides. Always wear gloves, mostly when you're doing 22s, because there is a lot of lead in here. So you don't want to be inhaling all that. So what we're going to do is, I'm just showing you this now. I'm going to put it back together, and on these anechoics, the very first blast baffle here is made out of titanium, and it's got a longer nose on it right here with a circle on it, and that's how you know. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this all back together, and then we're going to get to cleaning it. Real quick, I forgot to show you the inside of this tube here. I'm going to try to stick a light up in there just to give you guys a kind of an idea of how dirty this is. Once this is all clean, it should be nice and shiny because this is raw titanium, the whole thing, so you should be able to see a difference there. If I remember in editing, I will try to take a before and after shot of this. Now that we got this back together here, the best way to check to see if you got your suppressor done right, it should be snug tight, and you should be able to shake it with no rattling. So now what we're going to do is move on to the next step. Alright, the next step I was going to do was read the instructions to see how we got to do this. And right here they give you a QR code to scan for the instructions. Well, that's going to be an issue for me because I'm recording on my phone. So I'm going to have to stop this, take my recording stuff down, and use my phone to get the instructions so I know how to do this. I'll be right back. Now, after reading the instructions here, they have two sets of instructions, so make sure you get the right ones. One's for regular suppressors, and then they got a different set of instructions if you got a Cerakote or anything like that. That way it don't harm the Cerakote. Now, what ours says is to open up the tube, and this tube looks like it is threaded up on top. You can see they got a bottom in it. So we're just going to put that right back in here. They say to, actually I'm going to take it out. They say to put the suppressor in with the threaded end facing up on it. So we're going to put that back in here. And you can see the suppressor in there. Try to get it to stop wiggling because they want it to fill it up to the top until it's completely submerged. So that's what we're going to do here. We're going to start pouring this into the tube. See if it stops wiggling from the fluid. There we go. So we are just going to keep this pouring until it is completely submerged, which it looks like it's going to take most of the bottle. So I'm just going to dump the whole bottle in. That way we know it's completely submerged. Now, looking at this, if you have a 9mm or bigger suppressor, depending on how much fluid it displaces, this one bottle would probably still work. If not, you might need another bottle of that, but we got it completely submerged now. So now we're going to seal it up here. That way if it gets knocked over or anything, it will not affect it at all. Now, what this says is to leave it in for an hour or two, depending on how dirty it is. And then it says you could go up to 8 to 12 hours, depending on how dirty it is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back in an hour. And what I'm going to do is I might walk back and forth and check on it. And if I notice that the fluid's getting any dirtier, we'll do a quick little video on it. But I'm going to do an hour from right now, and then I'll be back. Right now we're back with a half-hour checkup here, and I can tell you guys right now, this is not as clear as what it used to be. And down here on the bottom, I'm going to zoom in real quick for you guys to check this out. I can see how dirty it is down here on the bottom already. So even within a half hour, this thing is already look like it's doing some real good cleaning. I'll try to come back here and do an hour checkup. Alright, now we're back after 1 hour here, and you can see it's dirty down here. And it gets clear as it goes to the top, but I can tell you right now, this fluid is not as clear as when I first put it in. Now what I want to do, since this is my first time doing this, is I want to take the suppressor apart and look at the baffles, and maybe we will scrub on one to see how it looks. So let's go ahead and get this out of here. I'm going to unthread this. Now this is why I wanted the kit, because it came with some of these tools. Yes, you could use other things you might have, but I thought it was cool that it came with the tools. So we're going to stick this down in here. Whoop. Try to get a better grip on it. This actually don't fit all the way in there. So I'm going to grab this. Look at all that gunk coming out of this. Look at that. Very interesting. I'm going to let it drip here a little bit. Alright, as you can see, I got blue towels down around here. What I want to do is plug that hole in my finger real quick. Go this way to get any more of that fluid out. And now you can see that water really discolored on that. So now I'm going to take it apart and take it apart and look at it real quick. Look at that end cap. I'm going to put a picture in here of what this looked like before and look at it now. Alright, there is the very first baffle on it, and that thing looks pretty clean. See if we can just get this to come out. Nope, we're going to have to grab our little piece of plastic to push it out again. Alright. Now we're going to take a look at this first baffle here. I'm actually going to come back real quick. We could see this right here. I'm going to hold this up and fast forward it while I grab another blue towel. Alright, I just wanted to fast forward through that so you could see I wasn't doing anything funky. Now there's the back side of it. That still looks pretty dirty. Let's get a brush here. Actually, I want one with just the nylon bristles on it. Scrub it a little bit. Alright, I scrubbed that some. Let's wipe it off. That's what it looks like so far. What I think I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put it back together. And this was, like I said, 2,000 rounds. I can't remember what anechoics actually says on it. But I'm going to run this real quick. And I think I'm going to put it back together because this is the very first baffle. So that's going to have the least amount probably on it. The one on the bottom are going to have a heck of a lot more gunk on them. But let's try to run this around real quick just to clean it up and see what 1 hour of scrubbing looks like. Alright, there we go. What I'm going to do is put it back in for another hour. So let's see what 2 hours looks like. Alright, it has been 2 hours and you cannot even see the compressor in here. Now this is where I'm going to throw in what I was talking about. My local gun store told me. You can see how dirty this is. They say they get multiple uses out of this. So they say just put it back in the bottle and use it for next time. They get 4, 5, 6, 7 cleanings out of it, they say. So I've seen theirs where I can barely see the suppressor in here at all. Theirs I've seen pitch black. So we're going to get this out of here and see what it looks like real quick. Get all the fluids out of it as before. I'm just going to speed through all this again. Of course, we already know this one looks pretty clean here. On the inside there is some black, so I'm going to take a Q-tip here. Just run it around in there. You can see how black that is. So I'm going to clean that out a little bit better. But I'm going to do that at the end because I want to get this apart, get one of these cleaned up so I can show you guys what it looks like here. After 2 hours, I can tell you right now, I'm not going to soak it anymore. I don't see no reason to. Because if you actually follow people who do suppressors, a totally clean suppressor is not as quiet as one that makes is a little bit dirtier. But I'm just doing this to demonstrate for you guys. Now what I want to do is I'm just going to take this nylon brush in here real quick. You can see how new it is, nice and white. I just want to take this down in here and scrub a little bit. Alright. You can see how black that is. So that's going to be another thing that I'm going to demonstrate. I'm going to put that off to the side over here. Now this is our very first one that we already brushed on and then put back in beforehand. So now I'm going to do the same thing. Just try to scrub it here real quick. You can see we still got a little bit of carbon on there. I'm going to work on that real quick here with the pick. Alright, you can see we pretty much got it clean there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the rest of these off camera so I don't bore you guys with it. And then we'll see how cleaned up I get it, and I'll be back. Alright, there's the first baffle. You can see right there, nice and clean. Do got a little spot on this one, but I am not worried about that. Like I said, get it completely clean is a little bit crazy. I'm going to get all the fluid out of that one. Show you the rest of these, how dirty they are. Basically, these sides on them all look good. And I'm just going to go right down the baffle stack here. This one is the first aluminum one. Get that fluid out of there. But you can see this side, there's a little bit on there that will wipe right off. Now this is the titanium blast baffle here. So this is going to be where the initial bullet goes through and all the gases and everything. So this is going to be the one that's going to be interesting to clean up. You can see the front of it's pretty good. That'll probably all wipe up. Let me grab a towel here real quick. Yeah, you can see that side is good, but that's the front of the baffle. This is the back of the baffle, and like I mentioned, on this one, you got the little hole right there, and then this has like a longer nose piece on it. And that's how you could tell that it's the blast baffle. Plus titanium's a slightly different color than the aluminum. So I'm going to try to get this cleaned up and come back with you and see how I can get this cleaned up. Because that'll really tell the story of this stuff. Alright, I scrubbed on this as much as I wanted. First thing we're going to do is look inside the can. And the hardest thing on the can is to get down by where it threads on. But the rest of that in there, you can see cleaned up pretty decent. I highly doubt, unless I can get the light. Let's see, can I get it go down there? You can kind of see that down by the thread you can't get real good. That's probably about the best I can get it. With the brushes I have, that's about as good as it's going to get on these. So the can is done. And now what I'm going to do, when I left off, I showed you guys the blast baffle. This is the blast baffle here, and you know that because it's actually got the hole right there and the longer thing. Now this is as clean as I can get this in. Now like I said, they said you can even do up to 8 to 12 hours on this. I don't feel like wasting that much time because as I said before on 22 cans, basically the cleaner you get it, the hotter it is. So I'm just going to leave it like that, but that is not too bad at all on that one compared to what it looked like before. Then the next one, pretty much on all these, there's a little gap right here on the nose, and everywhere where that gap is, there's a spot of lead that I can't get off. But like I said, I'm not going to get it squeaky clean, so I'm okay with that. Here's the number 3 baffle, and of course all the baffles everywhere else look great. They all just have that spot right up there that have a spot that I can't get off, which I am totally not worried about at all. This is second to the, or number 2 baffle if you're going from the front. You can see that spot right there. And then this was the first baffle. You can see basically right where that is the dirtiest spot. The rest of it cleaned up pretty good. Let me give you my final thoughts. So what's my final thoughts here on the Breakthrough Suppressor Cleaner Kit? I give it a thumbs up. I'll tell you what, guys, if I wanted to get that spick and span, I could have left it in there for 12 hours and probably could have cleaned it all up. Like I said, on the 22 suppressor, it's just not worth it. Right now, I only have 22 suppressors to clean, so I think it did a pretty good job. And like I said, the local gun store I got this from said they reuse this fluid a bunch. They said don't just do it once and throw it out. Don't waste it. They said you could do it multiple times, and they do a suppressor cleaning service there, so I believe them. And like I said, theirs was pitch black. You get all the tools that are with it. You get the tray and everything. So I give it a thumbs up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave a link down to Amazon for you guys to pick it up. That is an affiliate link that does help out the channel. Or if you just want to check the specs out on it and maybe see something that I didn't go over, go ahead and check that link out. So as always, don't forget to check the links out down below. Down there I have links to Axel Hearing Protection, Gators Eyewear, and a bunch of other companies I like dealing with. Some got discount codes to save you guys money, others are affiliate accounts that do help out the channel. So don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, hit that notification bell, leave a comment down below. We are One Nation Under God, and I'll see you all on the next one.